Alright folks, it's now time for Chapter 3 of A Murder Carol. Matthew, Christmas is only a night away, but for the poor of New Haven it is a time of misery. Money is at the root of everyone's woes, and the most likely motive in Rowdy Rick's murder. But, Matthew, there's an emergency. A beat officer called for backup. He says his life is in danger. Blast it! Where? On Rookery Lane. Hellfire! That's where our victim lived. Matthew, we must attend the scene immediately. Please, ma'am. I told you to get off my property. I'm moving in another lodger tomorrow. I don't have time for the police to nose around. But Mrs. Scrubber, get out of my way or I'll smack you one. This is a crime scene, ma'am, and Marshal Matthew is in charge. What? Oh my gosh, she did it. That'll learn him. Trespassing on private property. Mrs. Scrubber, attacking the police is a serious offense. Constable Ramirez, are you harmed? I'm fine. I volunteered to escort the offender into custody while you search the scene in peace. Thank you, Ramirez. Your bravery will not go unremembered. Matthew, we'd better search the premises before fresh disturbance breaks out. We shall not be deterred by such intimidation.
Special Forces. This flashlight has a feeble 125 lux output. The Atomic Beam USA has up to 5,000 lux. That's 40 times more. It's tough enough to withstand this 36-ton fire. We're dropping hundreds of feet from this helicopter. It hits the tarmac and it's still working. That's what I call a tough flashlight. Heavy downpours, like boiling hot oil or being frozen solid in a block of ice are no match. I can smash it with all my strength. Keep shouting its stroke features
Torn silk.
Powerful self-defense tool. Disorient attackers and protect yourself with the Atomic Beam USA. It's compact, lightweight, take it anywhere you know you're going to need it. In case of emergency, it has an SOS setting. As a former fighter pilot, I can depend on Atomic Beam.
Silver locket.
See for miles. On land, sea,
Christmas present.
you could spend over $100.
Got the first star already.
If it ever breaks, for any reason, you get your money back. And if you order now, you can double it and get a second Atomic Beam USA.
Matthew, we know Rowdy Rick took valuables from poor debtors by force. No doubt that silver locket belonged to one of them. And if that girl in the picture suffered in Rick's hands, she'd have cause to wish him dead. We shall track her down. And behold, someone left a Christmas present for our victim. But why is there a lock on the box? You are right, we shall open it without further ado. Matching the symbol should do the trick. I wonder why anyone ruined a delicate fabric by tearing it to shreds. We ought to restore it to no more. Matthew Concordians is urged to celebrate Christmas without a killer running loose. We shall double our efforts to find this felon.
Instantly connected with a pro who can do the job.
It's completely free to use. Go to HomeAdvisor.com. Morning sunshine. 23 minutes past the hour now. We're sick of lying to you. We're glad to see you.
Your morning sunshine. Morning Express with Robin Mead on 8 Enjoy news with Oceanics on your cable.
This is Jason Warren.
We're looking for something. We help you find it.
Pippa's locket. Matthew, we are in luck. We do have a record of the girl whose locket you found in Rick's quarters. Her name is Pippa Caffrey, a recent Irish immigrant. Pippa? That name sounds familiar. Confound it, you're right. This is Pip, the chimney sweep. Pip is a girl. More to the point, this pendant suggests Pippa may have had a spot of contention with the victim. Quite right, Matthew. We ought to let our little chimney sweep know we're onto her secrets. About her real identity. Pippa Caffrey, you're a girl in trouble. Don't know what you mean, mister. My name's Pip, and I ain't no girl. Young lady, you shall not lie. Marshall Matthew found your locket among Rick's belongings. I'm sorry I lied to you, Marshall Matthew, but if folks knew I was a girl, they wouldn't give me a job. We sympathize with your plight, but there is a more pressing matter. How did Rowdy Rick get a hold of your pendant? Did he take it from you by force? No, I gave that pendant to Rick as payment. It's real silver. Payment? For what? So he beat up that horrible man, Mr. Bleak. He took everything from my family. He's the reason I had to leave home and find work. I begged Rick to give Mr. Bleak a whack in the head while he's snuffing tobacco. But Rick refused. He said he'd keep the locket safe for me, but he wouldn't harm nobody on my account. Some friend he was, he betrayed me. No, child, he didn't. Having the sense to shelter you from lawless violence was perhaps the only decent thing Rick ever did. Oh no, it's the tedious one again.
Required physical examinations. A witness reported seeing a stolen car parked outside the funeral.
Sorry guys, tablet ran out of battery. Dear Lord, is that a dead rat? What are we to do with this, Matthew? You want to give it to Rose? It's bad enough that she keeps a living rat on her airship. I don't see why she's in need of a dead one. But I concede that Rose knows the creatures and denizens of the city's dark underbelly better than anyone. She's lived on the streets for some time herself. We shall call on her assistance.
The kind of person that would not suspect anything beyond the obvious.
E. Lee White, Lawrence Scott, and William Brown were all found guilty of first-degree murder and insurance fraud, and sentenced to life in prison.
The murder mystery is actually who did it. There were 3 people that were tried and 3 people convicted. But who did it?
E. Lee White's wife, Erna, was convicted of fraud and first-degree deception. She was placed on probation.
Matthew, that silk scarf you restored bears the initials TT. If the memory serves, that matches one of our suspects, Trickster Tim. Trickster Tim admitted he played cards with the victim. But this torn scarf could be evidence of a fight. Quite right, Matthew. We shall solicit some answers from Trickster Tim.
Maybe no one's suspicions would have been aroused at that time. But I think they saw this pot of gold, and they probably
About his silk scarf?
because they wanted a fast payoff.
Marshall Matthew, if you're intending to keep me here all night, could I possibly have a pinch of snuff? A pinch of snuff? Ha, that's very droll if I say so myself. What else tickles your fancy? A stuffed turkey? Or perchance you'd care for a petty scarf? Marshall Matthew found it in our victim's lodgings, in pieces. What? He tore it up? That brute? It's real silk! Rick won that scarf and whisked from me, but clearly he had no appreciation for fine things. Pearls before swine. So he didn't tear it up in a brawl with you? Nor did you retaliate by smashing his skull? I resent your accusations, Marshall Matthew. Rowdy Rick mishandled my property, and I'm the one behind bars? So much for justice, so much for Christmas spirit.
But the employees were trained to handle those situations.
I'll get the rest of the stars, let the dead rat run his course. For now, it's Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've returned. Dead rat has run its course. Let's see if the results from Rose. Matthew, next time be kind enough to warn me before you send me poor deceased creatures. Ratsputin was very upset. Someone sent this rat as a Christmas present to our victim. We were hoping you'd know what to make of it. It wasn't a gift of love, but a token of bad blood. In the language of the street, the rat means betrayal. You ratted on me. But the threat was disguised as a gift, suggesting the sender was a friend. Matthew, who among your suspects proclaims to be the victim's friend? That's whose door I'd knock on for answers. Blast it, Matthew. That would be Vinny Costa. We shall question him without delay. Alright. About sending a dead rat to Rick? That's gotta be the worst present ever. Next to death, anyway. Vinny, you told us Rowdy Rick was your friend, but you sent him a dead rat for Christmas.
Sponsored by Zippy's.
Maledizione, you found out. Rick betrayed the unwritten code of honor, Marshal Matthew. I saw him talk to the police. The police? What about? Don't ask me, Marshal Matthew. I don't know and don't care. But Rick had to learn that honest men settle their arguments with their fists, not by ratting to the cops. And Rick didn't heed your warning, so you silenced him before he ratted on you? Santo cielo, Marshal Matthew, what are you saying? Rick was like family to me. I taught him everything he knew. I shared my snuff with him. I promised to take him to Italy on board the Gigantic if I win the lottery. I wish him no harm, Marshal Matthew. Porta Miseria, my poor friend. Horse feathers! With friends like you, Rick had no need for enemies.
Comes in occasionally, so they're a very, very young team. But their coach, Ashley Preston, is very excited.
Matthew, yours is rare intellect, and my word, we need a clear head now. True to his sobriquet, Rowdy Rick had little regard for peace or property. His gambling partner called him a swine, while his one friend, Vinny Costa, likened him to a rat. A dead one, to be clear. And yet even a brute like Rowdy Rick did one good turn. He sheltered a poor child from the same life of violence that led to his own demise. And now it is our duty to bring Rick's killer to justice. Time is running out. Where shall we turn? The gambling den? Brilliant plan, Matthew. We shall dawdle no more.
I think she's going to play 2 sets of ball, which I agree with is worth trying out. And I think the third set we might see her back on the outside. She's got to keep her outside skills.
Before we do, I'm going to make a change. Back to the cat.
Fullerton coming in 6 and 10 overall, 1-1 in the league. Let's send it back over to the corner crew.
Starting off a little scouting report is brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, and why not scout the #1 player for the Titans? And there she is.
And you see the numbers on Vayet there. Of course, the transfer. Really watch where she's just a dynamic player. Just in warm-ups alone, she gets a lot of height, has great range in which she's hitting. Some fans may remember her from last year when she played against Hawaii while playing for the Shockers of Wichita State. The hitting percentage, not the best, but 3.54 kills per set means that she's going to get
Gold bar, glove,
Look at the comparison statistically.
compass,
Soon as you would expect Lisa.
globe,
Excited towards her.
oh, silver box, or snuff box, pile of cards.
Nothing to lose. They are rebuilding their team. They've got 9 newcomers, new coaching staff in their second year as well. And they're playing in the best, in my personal opinion, arena in the United States of America for women's volleyball.
Well, you mentioned Cal State Fullerton has nothing to lose for Hawaii. There were odds they'd be overwhelming favorites, obviously, in this game.
Matthew, we could not look under that pile of cards before, but we shall leave none of it unturned now. And I'll be damned if that isn't a snuff box. We already know our killer favors that habit. But thanks to the marvels of modern science, collecting the smallest particles from the box's lid may lead us to its owner.
Everybody's back at their home court, just taking care of business.
All right, the three of us will be back at intermission. But coming up next, first serve.
Let's do this.
Cal State Fullerton.
Aha.
Good evening, volleyball fans. At this time,
8 energy. Bloody brass tap. Uh-oh. Capital find, Matthew. That piece of brass you found under the cards was like a barrel tap, and it's stained with blood. Seeing that the victim was slumped over a barrel, this tap may be our murder weapon. We shall send it to Rose for confirmation. Oh, something else in the pile caught your attention? Hellfire, you're correct again. That Wisp scorecard has Vinny Costa's name on it, which makes him not only a gambler, but a probable killer, too.
Once again, Stanley Ching coming out onto the floor, already helping with the presentations. Last season,
Now Vinny Costa's in the running.
16-0 record to capture its 8th Big
15
West
hours.
and its 24th overall conference crown. It marked the 15th
Snuff
time
box.
the Rose went undefeated
Yeah, I
in
got college
conference
volleyball from my
play.
local state of Hawaii.
In BWC history, that a team was
But please disregard that and only focus on this.
defeated.
There we go. 8 particles. Matthew, those particles you lifted from that snuff box might tell us something about the killer. Let us call upon Viola's assistance.
Your
9 hours, and I'll let these two run the courses, get the results tomorrow. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've returned. We're going to get the results of the particles. Viola, I hope you have made progress with these particles Matthew collected from the killer snuff box. You ought not wrinkle your forehead so much, Isaac, else you'll look old before your time. Are you saying I look old? Not at all, Isaac. I was referring to the effect of aging on human skin, a process as noticeable as the colors changing on autumn leaves. These tiny flakes are skin cells, Matthew. Under the microscope, they appear healthy, unspoilt by harsh labor, damp weather, smallpox, or frostbite. Matthew, based on the quality of their skin, your killer ought to be a young man or woman, one that has not seen their 30th birthday yet. That's an interesting clue. Viola, you have given us a reason to smile and not frown. We shall round up this killer before the new day dawns.
We expect things to still be wet for the big Maui County, but a little bit drier for Oahu, like we saw for most of the day today. A quick look at what we can expect for our weather. Light and variable winds for tomorrow.
For 8.
Warming up to around 80 degrees.
Matthew, do you have a favorite murder weapon? Personally, I admire firearms the most. So intricate, elegant, and efficient. I do hope you are not planning to dispatch anyone to the great beyond, Rose. Do not alarm yourself, Bontemps. The only man I've ever thought about murdering was my dear husband. The one who's unfortunately deceased? Indeed. Anyway, as I was saying, anything can become a murder weapon in able hands, like this brass tap. All you need is proximity to the victim and sufficient force to administer the blow. I've made some calculations, Matthew, and concluded that your killer must weigh more than 150 pounds to have bashed in the victim's skull with a single blow. If this killer was a turkey, I'd roast him for Christmas with gravy and Brussels sprouts, and we'd feast on him for a week. Rose, you do say the most extraordinary things. Roasting a killer for Christmas. I shall be an uneasy guest at your dinner table if I'm ever to receive an invitation. Oh, don't be silly, Bontemps. Go on. Matthew is eager to arrest this 150-pound killer. Don't keep them waiting. Matthew, we have amassed sufficient evidence to put Rowdy Rick's killer behind bars. Let us bring Concordia a peaceful Christmas. Let's see. Who is the one? Over 150 pounds, okay. It's not Vinny Costa. It is not Maggie Scrubber. Under 30, it is not Mr. Bleak. It is certainly not Pip. It is Trickster Tim, it looks like. Yes, it is. Trickster Tim, you are under arrest for the heedless murder of Rowdy Rick. What in the devil do you mean? I told you I didn't do it. But you never denied being a gambler, and the death threat you wrote on this card speaks for itself. I wasn't the only one playing with Rick. At least 6 other fellows could have dealt him that card. We know it was you and no one else. The tobacco snuff you spat on the card has identified you. I'm calling your bluff, Marshal Matthew. Snuffing tobacco has never sent anyone to jail. We found your murder weapon. You used a brass tap that came loose to hit Rick in the head, just outside your secret gambling place. Then you swiftly returned to the cards table, leaving your companion for dead. The broken tap was still in your hands, so you hid it under a pile of cards. All right, Marshal Matthew. I see you hold all the aces. I admit it was me. Rowdy Rick was a swindler, if I say so myself. I might cheat when I'm dealt a bad hand, but I'd never disgrace myself by refusing to settle a debt. So Rick didn't want to pay when he lost? Is that what the tiff was about? I did not kill him for money, Marshal Matthew. I'm not some greedy, low-class pig. Gambling is an art to me, and I am a gentleman. But I could not tolerate Rick's stubborn refusal to give up what was mine. It wasn't even money, just a useless piece of paper. A piece of paper, you say? Wait, would that be the lottery ticket? Rick was still clutching the torn corner of one in the morgue. How in the devil do you even know that, Marshal Matthew? 'Tis true, I snatched it from his cold, dead hands. This ticket was all he had left, and I won it in the last round. Seeing as your luck has run out, you have no further need for that ticket. You are under arrest for murder. I've got a delicious Christmas pudding waiting for me at home, so let us deal with this swiftly. Trickster Tim, you stand trial for the murder of Rowdy Rick. Goodness, does anyone in these proceedings have an honest Christian name? But anyway, Trickster Tim, how do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor, but only by your laws. The age-old honor code of thieves condemns Rowdy Rick, not me, for refusing to pay a debt of cards. It is you who owe a debt to civilized society, and you shall pay it by serving a sentence of 12 years in prison. I shall make the most of it, Your Honor. Plenty of new tricks to learn in prison. Another splendid success, Matthew. Tomorrow night is Christmas Eve, and thanks to you, the citizens of Concordia shall celebrate in peace. I'm afraid there is little cause for merriment, Madeline. The streets are still teeming with delinquents, and the lives of honest citizens are fraught with hardship. Oh, Bontemps, don't be so glum. Someone's bound to get lucky tomorrow night. The lottery will be drawn, and now we have our very own ticket. Look, I taped together the pieces. The one you confiscated from Trickster Tim, and the one Dick found in the victim's hands. What if we win it, Matthew? Bah! Childish distractions. Matthew, Bontemps will change his mind tomorrow when we light up the Christmas lights. But first we should all get a good night's sleep so we'll be ready to celebrate.
Jeff Monken. Monken was a graduate assistant for UH in 1989 when Niu Matsumoto was QB for Hawaii. When their squads met today, Army led 14-zip by halftime behind 2 Andy Yates in rushing scores.
Taking a look at the other ones.
Zach Avey with this 41-yard TD run to give Navy its first.
Vinny Costa, over 150 pounds. Or under 150 pounds, he's 148. Maggie Scrubber, cleared early. Mr. Bleak, 58 years old. Pip, cleared from the start. Trickster Tim was the one. I'll see you guys for a new beginning 4-6.